All right, this is JPEG to RAW, show number 122. And tonight we have a special topic. Tim, our guest for tonight had to cancel. He had an emergency family issue, and he had to reschedule. It was going to be Kevin Cook from KCC Photography, but he had to reschedule. He's going to come back later in this month, September 30th. And those, we know those things happen. Family comes first. You got to do that kind of stuff. He was very gracious about it. He apologized and told him he didn't have to apologize. We know those things come up, and you got to deal with them as they come up. But we have something I was trying to figure out how we're going to fit this in anyway.
Yes, we did talk about that.
Yeah. I didn't know how we were going to fit this in, so now we know how we're going to fit it in. And that was, we all knew Tim went on a vacation. He went down, I'll let you talk about it, Tim. And he was going to use the Photosmith app while he was on vacation. He was going to find out how that helped him, and all the stuff we talked about with Mike Wren when Mike was back on from a month or two ago. And, now Tim was going to go live that process and how it really reacted for him, for his use in the field. So, Tim, why don't you tell us where you went, what you did, and then your feedback on the Photosmith app.
Okay, well, I went to seems to be now my annual trip to Walt Disney World down in Florida. We're down there for a week, and then went out on the Disney cruise for 4 days to both the Nassau, Bahamas, and then to Disney's Castaway Cay. And I was taking pictures, and a lot of times when I went away on vacation, I'm a big proponent of keywording all my pictures and going through all my pictures, but it's a pain in the neck when you take 1,000 pictures while you're away on vacation from multiple places, and then you come back from your vacation and all you have to do is edit your pictures and keyword your pictures and then approve or reject the pictures, which is a real pain in the neck. So I use Lightroom. I've been using Lightroom for several years, and I had at one point used the Photosmith app that we discussed, but I kind of broke away from the app a couple of years ago after I had issues with, uploading the pictures from the card into the iPad. And the big part of that is now with a lot of cameras, my pictures are anywhere from 22 to 27 megabytes each. When you have 1,000 pictures in there, it takes up a lot of room, and I don't have that much room on my iPad. But when we had Mike Wren on the show a couple of weeks ago, one of the processes he talked about was using the iFi card, which was exactly what I wound up using. And I changed my picture taking from just RAW pictures to JPEG to RAW. And what the Photosmith app really allowed me to do was every time I got back to the room, I would just turn my camera on. I would turn on the Photosmith app as I was getting changed, doing something in the room. Automatically, all the pictures that I took during that day were uploaded. The JPEGs were uploaded into the iPad. Once they were uploaded, it didn't take a long time. I think if I had let's say I had 100, 150 pictures, it took under 10 minutes to upload all the pictures. So while I was doing other things, the pictures automatically uploaded. I knew it was done when my iPad actually turned itself off or my camera screen went black. I knew right then and there that the camera was uploaded complete. And then when I had an opportunity, I would either I would approve or reject all the photos that I wanted by either picking and rejecting with the flags, which is the same as in the Lightroom app. Then I was going in, I was adding stars to the pictures that I wanted to keep, which is something that I rarely ever do actually in Lightroom itself. And then I went into and keyword tagged everything. What the really good thing about the app also was I had synced it with my computer before I left, so all the keywords that I had previously put into Lightroom were already in the Photosmith app. So once I started typing Walt Disney World would pop up. I would just select the checkbox. Automatically, all the pictures that I had selected had the Walt Disney World keyword tag to it, and so forth, whether it be the parks, the people that were in it, what location or a ride, as many keywords as I wanted to put on. And I put a lot of keywords on all my pictures. I would put them in there. I did that every day when I went on the cruise. Obviously, I didn't have keywords in there from a cruise because I'd never been on a cruise. Or since I have an SLR and Lightroom, I haven't been on a cruise. So those keywords I had to enter in as new words. When I came back home, actually what I also did then was on my laptop, I was downloading the JPEG and RAWs to offload them from the card. I had a 32 gig card, which wasn't enough for the whole time I was there. So I would upload the pictures to my laptop. I also had a USB 3 drive that I had as well. So I had 2 copies of the pictures on the external drive. When I came home, I just took the external drive, hooked it into my computer, uploaded all the raw files, went over to the iPad, synced it with the Lightroom app, the Photosmith app. All the keywords came over, all the rejected photos came over the flags, and was able to go through it and saved a lot of time. I think at that point, it took me less than 15 minutes when I was home to have that part of my processing done. Then, of course, the bigger problem I had was that my sensor had a lot of dust on it, so a lot of pictures I had to go through. And thank God for Lightroom 5 with the dust removal tool.
Yeah.
That really helped a lot. But the Photosmith app is something anytime I go away, I will absolutely use it. It really worked to the point where I can't see myself going on vacation not utilizing it.
So how many photos would you say you took total on your vacation?
Probably about 1,200.
I guess we should also say we are not paid by Photosmith or Mike Wren, who's out in chat right now. We would give a true review here. We actually, Tim, and people, we've been approached by 3 different advertisers, and I've turned them all down. I don't want an advertiser. I want to be held to anybody but our listeners. So we're not going to do that, and we don't do this for money, like I've mentioned before. So we're not going to take that. So this is. Now Mike's video is way behind the audio, and Tim's video is low res. Yeah, I don't know what's happening there. We're gonna just press on. So Tim, you took 1,200 or so images.
Yeah, I think it was about 1,200 pictures I took, and like I said, before I went, I did have a little issue with the Photosmith app. I was in contact with support. They did help walk me through, and it was an error I was making on my part by not creating something in there, and I'm very pleased with it. The fact that the iFi card is really what made me move away or move back to using it, because it was only uploading the JPEG file. So it really was beneficial. I did pay for the app a long time ago, and the support has been phenomenal. I can definitely stand behind it, and if I didn't like the app, I would definitely say it. So there's no issues I have with it.
Yeah, okay. So when you came home each night to the hotel or wherever you came home to, how long would you say it took for the camera to take those things off the iFi card? Because the iFi card is actually a separate thing from Photosmith. You can do this without that. It would just be a little bit different process. And there's other uses for the iFi card. So, how long would you say it took for all those the daily images to download to your iPad?
Less than about let's say 150 pictures was about 10 minutes for the JPEGs to transfer over.
Okay.
So that wasn't really that bad. I had expected a little bit longer. I think this was also the other thing. When I used to upload it from a camera connection kit to the iPad, it took a lot longer, but the pictures were also probably 4 times as large because it was uploading the RAW file versus a JPEG file.
Yeah. Okay, so you download them to the iPad, then you go through your process. Will you do this, while watching TV that night, or what would you be doing?
Yeah, the TV was probably on, or we had the kids in the room just getting ready, or even if it was between going out, coming back in the afternoon, going to dinner, I would just upload. Anytime I came back to the room and I was near the iPad, I would actually just turn it on to download those pictures because I didn't know how long it would take to download it, but it never turned out to be an issue. Then in the evening when we would get back to the room late at night, or whenever I had time. Matter of fact, I didn't get to all the pictures near the end, so while I was on the plane on the flight home, I actually I went through keywording all the pictures for the last 2 days that we were there. So it went quickly, and it's got a couple of views to it. It's got the grid view, or it's got the a full screen view, where you can, if you do the grid view, you can do multiple pictures at the same time to keyword them. So whether it was Walt Disney World, Florida, summer vacation, that would be the global one for the majority of the pictures. But when it would have been Magic Kingdom, well, then you're getting to fine-tuning down to individual pictures. Or if it's my son's name, my daughter's name, a specific ride, that was individual pictures. So and on any of the updates to the actual pictures in the app, when you keyword it, there was no lag. I am using an iPad Air, so I'm using the latest version of the iPad. I picked one up on eBay probably about a month and a half ago when I decided to go back to using it, because my last iPad, after falling to the ground several times, kind of died.
So if you're like me, when you're traveling, you want to look at those images, and see what you took that day and all that kind of stuff. So this gives you a chance to not only look at them as you're going through them, to actually be productive during that process.
Exactly, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see the pictures on this, how well it's going to come off, but like this is the pictures on the cruise. So whether you had the grid view, which shows you all the pictures over it, or the full screen, you could see the pictures as they came off of the camera. Now, the pictures come out great. There's no doubt the pictures are very clear. No loss of quality in any of these pictures in here. So these are pictures off the cruise ship of the Disney Dream. I don't know if I'm holding it up to the camera. So this is one of the pictures I like, which is straight up picture to the chandelier in the middle of the Dream. So the pictures came out good on here. No issue with the quality. I was able to determine, let's say, if a picture was blurry or I didn't like the picture, and then delete the picture or reject the picture right there. I didn't wait till I got back to Lightroom at home to make the decisions. I made all my decisions right there on the Photosmith app as to whether I was going to keep or delete a picture. And I deleted quite a few pictures. I took quite a few, but I deleted a lot right then and there.
Yeah. And I just checked my delay too, and I don't know. There seems to be a delay on mine. Can you see me through the Hangout? Is my lips are my in sync with what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't have the volume on, so I couldn't tell you.
Oh.
So right now you look perfect.
Well, how about I do this? 1, 2, 3.
All right, we'll see when that comes up, and because I still
you gotta
my
watch
face
that
on the screen.
All right. Well, we'll keep going on. All right. So anything that if you had to do it again, and this is anything from the photography standpoint, not just the Photosmith app, anything that you would change?
Well, I know for myself, and I think this comes down to being Disney quite often. I've probably been there now 15 years in a row, and to me it seems pretty much that I don't need my SLR while I'm down there. And I also traveled with my 70-200 lens. Like I said, I weighed my camera bag before I left, and it was, I think, 26 pounds. Yeah, and that going in and out of the park, that was painful. On the cruise, yeah, that was something that I had never been on, so there I enjoyed using it. But actually in Disney itself, I think I made the decision while I was there, and a friend of mine actually had a waterproof camera with her, and I was like, you know what, that might be something in the future I take, because a lot of the pictures I started taking while I was down there are more of candid pictures, not the landscapes or let's say sports photography where I'm going to want a faster speed camera. So now I think I'm at the point for myself where do I need to lug all that camera equipment with me? You know, when I'm taking my son's soccer game pictures or if I'm taking family affair pictures, that's one thing. But going on and traveling, I don't know, maybe it's because I have also had my 2-year-old daughter running all over the place. It became a bit of a hassle for me. So I looked at a Nikon that I'm interested in, and that's probably what I'm going to wind up getting the next time to bring just for vacations. At least to a place that I go often.
Right. No, I agree. You know, I end up taking my SLR everywhere I go, and the problem with an SLR, of course, is you know, for me at least, is I can't just bring the SLR. I got to bring, you know, whatever lens I'm going to bring, and I typically bring the 50, the 85, the 70 to 200, and then okay, well, you never know. I may want to take some macro shots. The macro, another wide angle, and before you know it, I've got more gear than I've got clothes for a trip. Exactly. And of course, this last trip we took with a cruise, I also brought a Nikon. You might be able to see it, that blue camera right there, a Nikon waterproof camera that I can go in the water with.
AW120?
Yes.
That's the one I was looking at.
Yeah, so I took that too. Now that I have a GoPro, I'll take that also.
Well, I got the question then, because that's the camera I was looking at. How do you like it?
So if you're going to I used it mainly for the underwater shots. Underwater video, and it wasn't that good for that kind of stuff.
I don't think there's many cameras good for that.
Yeah, you know, it's okay. Otherwise, it's not going to rival your SLR, but it's okay, and it's really easy and small to lug around with. I didn't worry about it getting wet or bumped or anything like that. So from that standpoint, it's good.
Well, I know. I used to take my wife. She had a point and shoot camera, and every once in a while, instead of taking out my SLR, let's say at night, I would just take her camera and put it on my belt, and it was nice to walk around without something. And I think what it came down to Disney is I've probably taken 3,000 pictures of the castle. My wife's like, "Do you really need any more pictures of the castle?"
Yeah,
Probably not.
it's that struggle of yeah, I'm afraid I'm going to come across this one scene that I'm going to say I'm going to really dread not having my SLR there. You're right. If you're at Disney World and you've been there a bunch of times, you know the odds of you seeing the once in a lifetime shot is slim. But if you're going on a cruise, you might get that sunset set or who knows what that you really wish you had your SLR there. It's just the.
Yeah, I did. Well, you know what? I got to say this. When we went on that private island, Castaway Cay, I didn't even take my camera off with all the sand there. And somebody else had told me, you know what? You really don't want to bring it there. And I listened to it. Plus, Disney had their photographers there. And these guys were out there with their Nikon cameras out in over his waist in water taking these pictures. I would never brought my camera out there, but for Disney, they take their pictures. If they damage a camera, all right, you know what? We'll get a new camera.
Yeah, and I know somebody who would, Scott Green.
Yeah, I know he would, but I'm not crazy like him.
So I brought mine when we went to that island, and I have a shot that I still have today that I just absolutely love. That I'm glad I had my SLR. So it's, you never know with that kind of stuff. All right, so I think that gives you had a good experience with the Photosmith app, and highly recommend it. And Mike Wren was out there. I sent him an invite, but I don't know if he's going to come in because he had something to talk about. But while we're waiting on it, I did have a couple other things. So today I get a text or a tweet. I didn't get it personally. It was just one of the guys I follow. He's been on the show a couple of times. Scott Wyden, Kilvolitz. I'm never going to say that name. Let's just say Scott. Let's just say Scott Wyden. So he sent out a tweet. And the tweet was basically saying that iStock Photo, if you're a contributor to iStock Photo, which if you don't know what that is, it's a micro stock photography agency where you submit your photos and people buy them, to use in various situations. The low amount of payment per image, but the theory there being that you sell it a whole bunch of times. And I got in early and only have 18 photos. So of the millions of photos they have there, only 18 of them are mine. And I'm always shocked by how does anybody ever find mine and buy it. And yet they do. So I sell stuff, you can only get your money out once it hits $100. And my little 18 photos, I earn about $100 every couple of months. So that thing has made me well over, something like $2,500 over the course of the years I've been there. And every once in a while, I see one of my images in use somewhere, one of those 18 images in use somewhere, and they're mainly of my kids. And I'm just shocked. Look, there's Andrew or there's Christopher or whatever it is. So anyway, Scott sent out a tweet saying that iStock had changed one of their rules, the rules, and saying that the only way that they're going to do payments in the future is through credits, meaning a credit to buy other images.
Yeah,
and so I immediately said, "Oh boy, and they have changed rules just a number of times. It completely changed the game, and it makes it hard for anybody who's really doing this to make serious money. I can't live off of what I make." So I immediately went on to iStock and actually put in a withdrawal request, thinking I better get my withdrawal request in there and get my money out, whatever I had up there. Again, I was shocked when I went there and found that I had $150.
Wow!
This is like free money that just keeps flowing in.
Wasn't one of your biggest shots your son eating a hot dog or something?
It is. Yeah, that's what we were camping and I took a shot of him eating a hot dog. It was an okay shot. I wouldn't say it's a great shot, but that thing has made probably over $1,000 off that one image. Another one was him walking on a trail and from the back, and that thing has made close to $1,000. It's just amazing. But anyway, I made my withdrawal request and it went through fine. I didn't have any problems. So I decided, heck, I better. And I found a couple of things where they were posting about it. I better go and find out what the heck is going on. So I found this post, And I don't know if you're going to be able to read this, but I found this post, and it's talking about right here. It says we are offering just one payment method, credits. So when I first read that, I said, "You're right. That's the only way to get our money out is through that method." And so that's why I went ahead and did a withdrawal right away. And then I went back and reread it again, and it's not that for contributors. Yeah, they're not going to be able to read that. I wonder if I can zoom in a little bit. Probably not enough to make a difference. But yeah, maybe I can. Here we go. It's a little bit more zoomed in. It's for people who buyers. So there used to be different ways you can buy the images. You can buy the image through buying of credits, and then, or you can buy the images outright, I think. So, it's just like if you're an Xbox fan, Microsoft dollars. What does $1 equal in terms of credits on iStock? And now they've changed the rules to say you can't pay money for it. You've got to use the credit system. And there's a little thing that goes into the exchange rate on your current credits and what credits you'll get for that. But this is all talking about someone buying an image, not the contributor who's getting the money. Now that's on the good side. That means we still get cash, us contributors get cash. So if you have a portfolio out there,
they're making money, and obviously somebody trying to make a living on this is not going to be buying that many pictures if they're taking pictures.
Exactly. So that was the big fear there. And I'm talking about what I make, and I don't want to pull me up so y'all actually see my numbers, but because there may be some account information there. But there's some people, like we had Nicole Young, who was on earlier.
Right.
We had Rob Sylvan, who was the Lightroom guy, on earlier. And
they make significant money.
They make a significant amount of money on there. I don't know exactly what, but there's some people who make a living off of that. So that kind of change would just absolutely kill them. The change that's not positive for contributors, at least initially, what we're reading is not positive, is they're changing the amount of credits it takes to buy an image. So it used to be, and I'm not going to be able to find it here because I don't think they lay it out in that term. They just talk about it in generic terms here. But it used to be that if you bought a small, medium, large, extra large, whatever size image you're buying, determined how much the cost was and how much somebody had to pay for it. So what they're talking about now doing is having one price. That you pay one price for whatever size image you are. Now, so the question is a lot from the contributors is, what is that one price? Are they going to pay the price? Is everybody going to pay the extra large price, or are they going to pay the small price, which is going to stink? So there's a lot going on there. The thing is, if you're a professional stock photographer and you're dependent upon iStock being honest and keeping and doing what's best for the photographer, that's just a tough life to.
Corporations, that's a sad part.
That's a tough life to live, but you hate to walk away from that because there is some real money there. I've talked to Rob Sylvan, and we'll probably have him back to talk about stock photography, because if you've never done that before, there's potential there to make some money. Just think about my 18 images that were not that good to begin with, that probably if I submitted them today would not get approved to be there, because when I submitted, there was less than 1 million photos, so they were accepting things. They were already cut off all the cat things and all the flowers and most of the landscape stuff. They already cut all that off, but my image was able to get through. I think today they wouldn't get through, but some people go out and they hire models and do all these shoots. Because what is selling is business type photos. So if you're one of those people who's going through that process, you don't want that revenue stream cut off, and it can be a significant revenue stream.
Well, yeah, and if I remember correctly, Nicole Young was doing a lot of food photography, and there's a lot of setup and a lot of stuff that went with what she was doing. Yeah, she was making money, but she was spending a lot of money to get these pictures as well.
Yeah, she was, and I don't know how much she does there now, but that's where I came to know about her, was from iStock Photography. She was one of the people that I idolized, from the beginning when I got on there, because she was already doing really well. I don't know how much money she makes, but you can do some math where you look at my downloads or this, it equals this much money. Her downloads are, 1,000 times more than that. So, you kind of do some back of envelope math, and you go, yeah, she's doing pretty good. So Mike Wren just joined us. Mike.
Hello, Mike.
Hello.
Mike, I don't know. Have you heard my comments about Photosmith App earlier? I know you got to step away, but
We're not getting your audio, Mike. You may have come in muted. You may have to unmute yourself.
if anything, I thought I heard him say hello, and that was it.
I did too. Nope, nothing yet, Mike. Melissa says, "Oh man, that sucks." Is anybody out in chat have images over at iStock or some other stock agency where Mike is working on a thing here?
I actually never put anything on iStock. I didn't think I ever had anything that was substantial enough. But
the process of getting on sometimes can be a real pain in the butt. I've known a few people who gave up after their first round of images were not accepted. Yeah.
Now, do you have to submit them with, like, let's say your son's a release from your son to be on this?
Absolutely, yeah. They are very strict about you, even if their face isn't seen. If it's if you're shooting them from the back, and let's say they have a tattoo in their back, or they have any distinguishable thing that person would say that is me, then you have to submit a thing. Yeah, what do you call it? A release. Mike, can you do one thing for me? Can you add
what's up?
add your lower thirds?
Say what?
Add lower thirds. Do you know how to do that?
I have no idea how to do that.
Okay, then don't worry about it. Right.
So Tim, yeah, that was really encouraging. Thanks for the kind words. With Lightroom Mobile coming out and iOS 8, we've taken a couple shots, but we're course correcting a little bit. So we're doing a lot of work behind the scenes to figure out how we're gonna fit into the new iOS 8 paradigm of doing things. It's a lot of neat things that are happening.
Well, how is that going to change the app? And let's say for a user.
That's a great question. We're still trying to figure it out. So like right now, Photosmith doesn't use the camera roll for photo storage. It uses its own storage space, right?
Right.
The reason why we do that is because in pre iOS 8, so iOS 7 and before, third-party apps could not delete photos from the camera roll.
Right.
Which makes it basically unusable. That's not a really usable solution, So we took about 3 months, and it just was a slog for about three months. Our engineering team created a methodology where, we're going to create our own storage space and store our photos right in there. And then if you want to import from camera roll, it's an explicit process. And it was a lot of work, but it's something we really had to do. And then Apple announced iOS 8, and hey, now everybody can delete from the camera roll if you want to. So okay, that's great. Yeah, so we're gonna have to. What's that?
Thanks very much for your help.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's one of the issues that always happens when it's. I mean, we're still early days on the iPad. Even though we're at iOS 8, it still seems really early. There's still rough edges that we've had to accommodate for. We've been very vocal and have documented the issues with camera roll. There's some older APIs that are in place that just are not robust. Let's say you have a certain number. Let's say you have a couple thousand images in a particular album in camera roll. We would query camera roll, or we would query using iOS's methods. We would say, hey, how many photos are in this album? And sometimes it would lie. It would say, oh, there's 500 when there's really 1,000. So then we have to accommodate that. So it wouldn't be consistent. Sometimes it would find new ways to break and lie to us, and we had to always put in checks to make sure if we're waiting for 500 images and it throws us 1,500 that it won't crash our app. So
I'm kind of surprised Apple would have issues like that. I mean, they and don't get me wrong, I'm not an Apple fanboy by any stretch of imagination, so I will pick on that. I'm sure Mike would follow up with me, but I wouldn't have thought they would have they would do that at all. I would have thought they would be very accurate, or they'd want to be very accurate. At least that's what they project.
Obviously, they want to be. Yeah, I don't think it's a matter of them not wanting to be. It's just that, I don't know how closely you follow the Apple universe of what's going on.
I'm on the fringe. I actually just got a friend of mine gave me a MacBook, so that he didn't need anymore. So I'm using that. I do have an iPad, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, work just gave me an iPhone, so slowly I'm converted.
That's how it starts, right?
Yeah, really.
So Apple has, with all the resources that they have and with all the money that they make, there's still a brain drain, it seems like, of good engineers. Good coders are tough to find. So what happens, and it's fairly well documented in the technical press, that at some point, I think it was right around when Mavericks came out. To get Mavericks ready, they had to pull a lot of iOS people off iOS to finish up Mavericks. And then, so they're shifting these, like they're A players. Let's say they're A coders. They're A team coders from project to project, just to finish things up and to do it right. I don't have anything to back this up, but it always seems like the Photos API that developers are forced to use was not done with the highest quality talent. So it's always worked good enough most of the time.
Well, and I guess in Apple's mind is, well, if you have 1,000 pictures in the roll and it says 950, nobody's going to go in there and count it.
Yeah, nobody's going to go in there and count. And for most apps, I mean, we're definitely an edge case. We're a corner case. Not all apps beat on their APIs as hard as we do. Right. We're moving a lot of data around. We're finding in iOS 8 that the new APIs, there's not a lot having to do with metadata. Metadata still seems like an afterthought. Yeah, really, really surprising afterthought. I don't know why.
That's odd.
We're a little puzzled as some of the decisions that were made. They're still like Adobe. They're focusing on developing, making the pictures pretty, which I totally get. That's a lot easier to sell than, hey, you can add keywords. That's not a really sexy thing to market. But for we're a small slice. We handle a small slice of what a small number of people want to do, which is organization. It definitely appeals to a certain personality type, bringing
That's definitely me. Yeah,
a certain amount of control to I always like to say that I'm in a daily fight. I'm fighting entropy daily. Fighting entropy, the natural state of chaos. As a human, I just want to have a nice controlled collection set that I know is clean. And if I need to pull a photo of something from a specific time of a specific person, I can get to it within a couple seconds. I like having that.
Absolutely, and that's why I've been trying to communicate that to a guy when I go to work with, and he just got back from spending 2 weeks in Thailand, and he's like, well, about 3 months ago, he's like, yeah, I haven't done it yet. I was like, have you done anything from any of the trips you've done in the past 3 years? No, I'm going to get to it. And it snowballs when you get to that. I mean, I know I have my old pictures that I never keyworded, and I'm like, yeah, I'll get to them. And you just that's why I know if I don't do it right away when I upload it to Lightroom, I am not going to do it, or it's going to be. It needs to be raining outside, and I have absolutely nothing else to do. And then it comes down, I have something better to do. So I have to do it right away when I upload it, and I do take the time for that. And you're right, it makes it so much easier. I know the end of the year, when I do my calendar for my wife for the annual calendar, it's easy to find pictures. Matter of fact, one of the keywords I put in there is calendar. This way, when I get to the end of the year, I have the 75 pictures that I say, all right, these are the ones that I think should be in there. I narrowed it down for making my calendar pictures. So
yeah,
it just makes
and the ultimate irony is, I came along about 2 years ago into the Photosmith project. I was that user where I constantly was bugging the lead guys, the two lead coders, just putting bugs in there like, no, you're doing this wrong. No, you got to do this slightly differently. Just weekly, just because I wanted an app that was useful for me as an advanced user. The ultimate irony is that once I came on as a partner with Photosmith, there's a very definite shift in my own personal Lightroom catalog where I stopped tagging stuff because I was too busy working on the app, too busy interfacing, talking to users, and solving problems. So it's just looking back at it, it's like, wow, this is really cool that I helped.
I got what I want, but I don't do it.
Yeah, totally.
The thing, Tim, that you said that for me, where it would be useful, is I want to look at my images while I'm off traveling or doing whatever. I want to look at them anyway. If I'm going to look at them on my tablet and I guess an iPad, I don't have an iPad, but if I did, if I'm going to look at them on there, why not be doing the light tagging and stuff and the culling as I'm going through that? That is such a time saver. Plus, you get now to look at your images, and then when you get home, you've really saved all that time. Or it doesn't have to be on vacation. It could just be out traveling. I'm going to go out and do something, and then I'll stop for lunch and I look at those images on there. That's awesome. And the iFi card.
Get you an iPad, Mike.
Yeah, Mike. I have to agree. I don't think you would regret it.
I think I would in more ways than one.
You'd hear it from. You'd have to be the closet iPad guy. For all we know, Mike owns one. He's not telling us.
No, I don't. There's nothing Apple in the house. And so people who listen to the show know that I'm PC guy, but Apple makes good quality products. I'll never debate that. They make good quality products. And if you're talking about laptops and PCs. Or desktops, they're really using the same CPU. They're using a lot of the same internal hardware that are in and Windows machines. So we're talking about some of the same stuff there. So I don't want to go down that thing. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because we've been there so many times. But so if you guys can do two things for me, Tim, if you can go ahead and kill your lower third.
Okay.
And Mike, I think you have the chat wing, the chat box pinging you every time somebody posts a message.
I do. I will kill that.
I was hearing that. So they also say all three of us, our sync is off. So something must be going on with either YouTube or Hangouts. So it's not just one of us; it's all of us. And hopefully the local recording won't have that in there. And I appreciate everybody out in chat fighting through it. Maybe just don't even look at us as we talk. Okay, so
better than way. I have a face for radio.
Yes.
So Mike, if people want to find out more about it, and how would they go about finding more about Photosmith App?
Yeah, so we have a website. It's photosmithapp.com. We are at Photosmith App on the Twitters. And where else? We're on Facebook also. Just search for Photosmith. That's about it.
Okay,
the website's the best place to go to check us out, check out screenshots. Obviously, if you search Photosmith in the App Store, we're still there, hanging tough. We're not doing a whole lot on the website because we're not doing a lot of marketing. I mean, you mentioned it before with about advertising and all that. Yeah. We don't have a huge ad budget. We're just four guys doing this, part time. We all have day jobs. We started this, or the two primary guys down near where you are, Mike, down Atlanta way. Mm-hmm. Started it 3 years ago because they wanted a Lightroom-like experience on iPad. And here we are, 3 years later. Adobe finally came out with their version of it, but it's the develop module, it's not the library module.
Yeah.
So, there's still plenty of oxygen. We don't see it as a zero-sum game. There's still plenty of oxygen for us both to kind of do our thing. And you know what? If it doesn't work out for us, we have day jobs. It's not,
Well, we hope...
So we don't have a huge ad. So what I was saying is we don't have a huge ad budget, any ad budget, really. We're just, word of mouth, trying to do the grassroots thing. And you would be surprised how few podcasts and other supposedly journalistic, editorial-type stuff that want to talk to us. It's kind of a rigged game. It's really interesting. I've learned a lot along the way here.
Well, I think that the whole theory of being able to do this while you're mobile, that whole thing is a great thing to do. And really, there's not a whole lot of choices. The Lightroom app won't do that stuff for you.
No, it doesn't do any kind of field triage, which is really puzzling.
Yeah, I'm not about to edit my photos on my iPad. As good as the screen is, I'm going to wait till I get home on a bigger monitor to do that. Yeah. And I did sync some of the pictures back to the Lightroom mobile app. I actually use it almost as a photo viewer is what I wound up using it for. I sure as heck am not going to edit anything in there. I'm not going to check my anglers on it to recrop it. I'm going to do that on my main PC. So I was very disappointed when they came out with that, and I don't think they've made any updates to it since it's come out, and they haven't gone over to Android, and it's probably out, about 5 months now? So I'm very disappointed with what they did with this. There's no comparison to the Photosmith app. I will outright say that. So.
Well, I hope you guys.
That's what I wanted.
I hope you guys continue. And I have no idea what the other photography podcasts do. I do know that I want us to remain where we're not going to take ads. So even if you, Mike, were to say, "Hey, we'll place an ad here," I'm not going to do it because part of that is selfish. I feel as long as I don't have anybody paying me, then I don't have to answer anybody. If Tim and I decide we're not doing a show tonight, no advertiser is going to say you were supposed to do 4 shows a month, or hey you did. I didn't like the way you talked about our product. I'm not going to do that. And since we have no intention of making money from it, it makes it a lot easier. There was a little bit of because one of the people who reached out to us, I was tempted because it would give us more money to do more giveaways, and that's really what I'd love to do is be able to do more giveaways. But in the end, I decided no, we're just not going to go there. All right, so let's shift to another topic. And tonight we had a scheduled guest. I talk about it on the front end that he had an emergency, he had to cancel. Totally understandable. So I thought we would have a short show, and it's going to turn out to be a full-length show, hopefully with some decent content. And Mike, love for you to stay for the rest of the show if you want to. And
I got
can.
nothing going on.
And then if you have anything to add, because I don't have a whole lot of filler here, but one of the things I want to talk about is photo walks. I've never done one. When we had Gene on back in, a couple months ago, talk about train photography. Gene Boker, I think is how you say his last name. He lives local to me. He lives maybe 5 miles from me, and he's hosting one of the Kelby walks up here, a little bit north of me. He's going to hold one, and I may go to it. Be my first one to go to. He's going to come back in November, and we're going to talk about that experience and what all happened. Have either one of you guys ever been on a photo walk?
No, and there's been a couple up here in New York, and I just never had the opportunity or the time to do it.
Okay. Well, I guess we don't have a whole lot to talk about there.
Pretty much the same. I mean, I've gone just with a couple guys. Just we go out and shoot, and we focus on a specific topic or keep an eye out for a specific type of photo. Let's see. I'm not going to bother. I could point you. I could point you to his photos, my photos. This was 2 months ago. I still don't have mine up yet. So that again, I'm a little bit backlogged.
Yeah, and I'm playing a little bit here of Scott Kelby, who I guess is the biggest name out there in photo walks, and I guess for me it'd be more about meeting the people. I'm the kind of photographer who I'm going to more like to take photos on my own. I'm not going to want to really go and take photos in a group. I like to take my time, and I also feel a little bit funny and people looking at me going, "Why are you taking a picture of that, you idiot?" I'd much rather be by myself and not have the pressure of other people. So to me, it really wouldn't be so much about the photography; it'd be more about the meeting of other people.
Sure.
And I wonder if that's the draw for a lot of people. Is the meeting?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's turning it into a more social experience. I mean, photography for a long time was a very isolated, especially back in the darkroom days, it was a very solitary existence. I think it's bringing it out a bit more to be a bit more of a social activity. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's really all I had on that. We'll talk more about that. Gene is scheduled to come back on, I think, November 11th, and we'll talk about it then. So in the meantime, the photo walk will happen between now and then, at least the Kelby-related one. I wish it had a date here so I could tell you when that was. October 11th. There you go. October 11th is when it's going to be. It's on the bottom of that screen. So if you go to kelby1.com/photo walk, you can find out more about it, and I'm sure there's one somewhere in your area if you're interested in doing something like that. And if you do, contact us and let us know which one you're going to, and after you go to it, what do you think about it? And you can get us at podcast@jpegtoraw.com. Really easy. All right. Anything else you guys have before I head into one last thing?
Did you get my email?
Who said that?
Me.
Oh, with the lip sync issue, I'm not sure who said that.
Well, my head was shaking side to side, so.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I did not get your email. Did it come in?
Oh, okay.
Today? I'll have to check it. Was it a topic?
No, I just sent it a little while ago. It had a couple of photos about a reflector.
Oh. Why don't you talk about it while I look for it?
Let me make sure I sent it to the right place. Podcast at
jpegtoraw.com. You know what? So when the show's going, I have my email killed, so I don't use up any extra CPU. But if you want to,
so I finally jumped into a photo challenge. The vacation topic for last month. We spent a week in the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and I wanted to go minimal this trip, which, as Tim was saying earlier, that's always difficult during vacation not to haul 20 pounds worth of gear out with you. I wanted to go very minimal, and that meant my 5D3, which most people wouldn't consider minimal, but minimal for me is the 5D3, only the 24-70 2.8 lens, and only one flash, no trigger for the flash. So we always do beach pictures with the family on the beach. We get a big place, big house right on the beach, and we have an annual tradition of doing the white shirt, khaki pants on the beach. Anyway, I always lit it with 4 or 5 strobes and getting everything just right. I wanted to go simple this year, so I packed my 43-inch reflector. So one side, it's a multi-reflector. One side is gold, another side is pure white, and then you can also use it as a diffuse, light source if you wanted to. I opted for the gold side to really pick up and reflect some really nice color. And do you have those photos up yet?
I am trying to get them and save them. For whatever reason, it won't let me save any of them.
Huh. All right, so I'll keep going with it.
Keep talking.
So basically, it is arguably the best purchase. I think it's the best purchase anyone can make if they haven't gone into the collapsible reflector.
I did pull up the reflector so people can see the reflector.
Yep. So it's $17 delivered on Amazon. Well, I'm on Prime, so it's a free 2-day delivery for me. And this thing, it's awesome. It absolutely kicks butt. It is. I think I might have to go out and buy a couple more just because. But it is incredibly versatile, and it has saved a lot of shots that otherwise would have been, just really, really hard lighting.
So whatever they didn't come across as an attachment; they're like embedded in the email. But so I'm gonna have to show the whole email, if that's
fine.
If that's okay.
That's no problem.
So I can bring the page up this way.
Yep.
And now I think you can see.
Yeah.
We can see them. I can go to full there.
There you go.
And you can see it. Yeah. So the 3 images.
Yep. So it's just the 3. The one image in the chair is more or less fully processed. There's not a whole lot that I did to it other than just make it a little bit more contrasted and make it pop a little bit. And there's my wonderful wife holding the reflector in another shot. There, behind the scenes kind of thing. Because it was really, you could probably tell from one of the photos, the hair was going everywhere. It was pretty windy, and let me tell you, that reflector, the 43 inches, when it's up there, it wants
it's a wind sail.
It's a little bit of height.
Yeah.
we almost got our parasail in there. But this thing, it is amazing what it can do. I think the most intriguing part, though, and I haven't done a whole lot with it yet, is how it's a constant light source. So that means you can use it with an iPhone. You can use it with devices that typically are difficult to synchronize a strobe with, like iPhone. It's not really, you can't synchronize a strobe with it. But if you're able to have a constant light source or to reflect a constant light source, it makes the iPhone that much more of a great camera.
So it makes a noticeable difference. One thing I'd like to see is like a before and after. Is it like really filling in the faces and removing some of the shadows?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, without a doubt. Let's see. I'm looking through my Lightroom catalog right now.
You know, my wife bought me one of these for Christmas last year, and I've yet to use it.
And so the thing you have is a 5-in-1, 43-inch. Looks like it's got silver. It's got gold. What else does it have? Is that a gray?
Yeah, there's
silver, black.
There's a few different that I've only ever used the gold though, just because it really, especially with Caucasian flesh tones, it just really makes it pop.
Yeah, and it looks like
it really turns any time of day into golden hour if you use it, if you have the angles just right. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, and it looks like it's crazy expensive at $16.95. And remember, if you're buying it from Amazon, to use our link, jpegderaw.com/Amazon, and we'll get a small credit. I mean, $16.95. That is a really good price, and it comes in a little pouch.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does, and it collapses. It collapses down to that's probably 8 inches. 8 inches diameter.
That's not bad. Yeah, 8 inches would not be bad at all.
No,
and it's not heavy. It's not adding to my 26 pounds.
Nope.
No.
So you talk about people generally talk about the nifty 50, the 80, what is it now, $90, $90, the 1.8. Or I think Canon and Nikon, they're about the same price. Certainly no more than $100. If you want to talk about price to performance ratio, that's certainly one of the best lenses you can buy. For $17, I think this reflector is really the best piece of kit. The best bang for the buck going.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to buy that. That's a good thing to have. It's one of those things. If you're gonna go traveling, that or when you're gonna need it, you're gonna wish you had it. And for $16.95, go ahead and get it out of the way. Get it, put it put it away with your gear, and then you may find you end up using it more often than you thought.
Yeah, it's been on my shelf for. I'm ashamed to say it's been on my shelf for about a year. It's same thing. It's been on my shelf. I forgot about it. Why would I need that? I've got all these strobes. But eventually, this vacation was more of it was a challenge to myself to mix it up. Let's try something different. And I just was blown away by the versatility of this thing.
And now, Mike, what you mentioned was you had entered it into our monthly challenge that we have, a photo challenge that we have in the JPEG to RAW Facebook group, which is really easy to find us. Just go to Facebook and then search for JPEG to RAW. We have several groups, but the one that is just JPEG to RAW is the one you're talking about. And we have a monthly photo challenge. The one for August was vacations. The one you see with the spider at the top, Scott Green won that last month, and I almost can't look at that because I don't like spiders.
You don't have to look at it much longer.
I know. That's why I'm encouraging the voters for the August to hurry up and get through with the vote so we can get another image up there. But that month was macro, and the month we have coming up now, so September, the theme is reflections. So, every month we have a different theme, and it encourages you to take different photos. And Mike entered an image, and Tim entered an image also this month.
Finally.
Yes. And in addition, we just started something called a editing challenge. We're going to try and do it every 2 weeks. We may have to tweak this process as we go along to see how it fits in with people's schedules and what people like. But the thought there is to post a raw image. I think Gina Perry donated a raw image, and then let people edit it and see all the different editing techniques, and then we'll pick a winner, and then rotate and do it again in 2 weeks, like in 2 week cycles like that, and to see how other people edit it, and then also to have the person who won, or other people too, discuss their process, so we all learn from each other in editing techniques, and hopefully learn some new tricks or something. So if you to do either one of these, the best place to do it is in our Facebook group. There are other ways you can go through the website and submit through there, or you can go into the forums and do something through there. But the place that's going to get the most activity, at least for now, is the Facebook group. So, and I wish you both luck in the challenge this month. I have not voted yet. I will probably be voting for, we do it in 2 rounds. We have, I think, 5 or 6 people who vote. The winner from the previous month also gets the vote. And it's we pick the top 3 votes, and then we go to the detailed vote from those 3 to pick a winner. So that process usually takes, 4 to 5 days or so. And we're almost done with phase 1 of that vote. So before long, we'll have the top 3. Let's see, if you haven't joined the forums yet, that is the place to be, Tim. It's real easy to find. Just go to the jpeg2raw.com, click on forums, wait for it to load.
Really easy to find. How come nobody gets there?
I don't know. And look at it. It's gorgeous. The forums are gorgeous. And you got, what happens is there's Mike's photo right there. When you post them in a Facebook group, there's a little blurb there that says I can post them over here, we post them here also so you can see them. But it's laid out really good. You got all kind of different topics you can look at and comment on, and you can create your own galleries, and you can even create your own blogs. And Gina Perry created one where she talked about how she was not nominated, she was listed in F-Stoppers, in an article in F-Stoppers on showing how they advance from the beginning to where they are now, that process. So even if you don't want to do that and create your own blog, and you have a blog already, you can just list it here like Gene did with his, list it here, and then people who come here may see it. It gives you another link. But come join the forums. Really easy. You can sign in through Facebook, Twitter, Google+, all kind of different ways. Come join the forums and help me post some stuff out there. It's one of those chicken and egg things. It takes a while to get rolling. And I know that most of our Facebook friends don't want to get out of Facebook. They love Facebook, and I understand that. We also have people in Google+ who don't want to get out of Google+. This gives, if you don't want either one of those, there's some people who are anti-social media, gives you another place to come do this. There's a lot of advantages to it, and we'd love to see you out in our forums. But so it's not just me. But I do use it a lot because I like it. And one of the things is the calendar. You want to go and see what's happening, like the Kevin Cook thing where I had to move him to, or not, he asked to be moved to September 30th. When I got done with the email with him, boom, moved him there. So, and you can see who's coming up over the next few weeks and the next month. You can see all that stuff as it's coming up. So check out the calendar, if nothing else, and then think about coming and joining us in the forums. All right, that's really all I had. A big old push for the forums right there at the end. But the thing is, if no one joins it, I'm still going to use it because the calendar, I love the calendar in there and the way it works. And I post some stuff because I had posted something about somebody from Flickr somebody from Flickr wanted to use one of my images for the cover of their catalog for their company. And I had asked, hey, what do you guys think? What should I charge these people? What should I do? I posted it in the forums, and actually didn't get any response in the forums. I got the response over on Facebook, but that's all right. I went ahead and sent them what I thought, and I haven't heard back. So I take it that from that they wanted to use it for free, and the stage where I'm at is not that I'm anything special, but it's that I no longer crave the attention that free use of my image gives me. And so if you want to use it, you're going to help contribute to what it took to get that image.
Yep.
And if you don't want to contribute to it, then that's fine too. No hard feelings. You just don't get to use it. And I take it for me. I don't take it to give you free images.
And you got a kid in college too.
Yeah, I do. That seems to be costing me money every time he calls me. That's a whole nother story. Yes. All right. So that's really all I had. And look at that. We're right at 9:32. We went the whole time. Any closing comments before we head out?
I have nothing. I pretty much said a heck of a lot more than I normally do.
Well, thank you, Tim, for coming. Mike, thanks for jumping in. And if you'll hang out for the post show here in just a second, we'll go ahead and close out. I already gave you the speech on the Facebook group, the contest, and all that kind of stuff, the challenges and forums, so I don't have to do that. But I will say, the best way to keep up with the show is to subscribe through iTunes, through Stitcher, through Spreaker, through, if you have a way you want to get it, you let us know, and we'll and if we're not there, we'll try and get there. To our TiVo friends, hope you're still enjoying the show, and I get it on TiVo, so I'm one of you. If you haven't done that, we are available on TiVo and a number of other places. So until next show, keep it raw. Good night, everybody.
You know.
See ya.